A common misconception about female protagonists who reincarnate into novels is that they can change the content of the story. There was a time when I, too, thought so. How grand an illusion that was, not even knowing. The content of the book I reincarnated into was very common. The protagonist, Anastasia, was entrusted to save the empire from tragedy and disaster. She became the empress as soon as she had her coming-of-age ceremony. After that, she started indulging in all sorts of debauchery and luxury, trusting only in her divine mandate. Causing vulgar scandals was just an extra consequence of her belief that, no matter what happened, she would not be dethroned from her position as empress. One day, a priest stated that the divine mandate was wrong. The current empress was not the woman of the divine mandate. As soon as it was determined that the divine mandate was false, my world shattered into pieces. The real protagonist of the original work, Evelyn, appeared as if she had been waiting, two people falling in love so naturally, managing to overcome various crises together, and ruling the empire well. I remembered it as such a happy ending. And then, extremely suddenly, I dropped into this world midway, these blonde hair, red eyes, and plump lips. This is exactly the original villainous Anastasia. I am not even the female lead, and on top of that, I am a villainess, an extra. If I don't behave properly, I will meet a grim end. Today is the day I meet my future husband in this world. The decision to get married would be made today. It won't be long before the death ending is confirmed. If I aim for survival and a safe exit, I must live quietly, without greed. The emperor arrived and asked, "Are you Anastasia Virantes?" Anastasia thought, "How can a person look so perfect?" The description in the book did not do him justice. It is unbelievable that such a handsome man with a beautiful face and robust physique could actually exist. If this is what it means to fall in love at first sight, my mind has changed. I want to change the content of the original. I want to look good in his eyes. I want to be loved, even if I am an extra with a predetermined role, because I am now Anastasia from the book. The ending might change. One day, a priest came and told us that the divine mandate was wrong. The current empress was not the woman of the divine mandate. The emperor stated, "I have no intention of dethroning the empress." The priest replied, "But your majesty, for the peaceful future of the empire, you must change the empress." The emperor answered, "Even if Anastasia is not the woman of the divine mandate, she is my wife." Evelyn, who was the original protagonist, became a priestess of the shrine after gaining the title of the real woman of the divine mandate. My relationship with the emperor deepened, and I thought I could hope for a happy ending like this. However, we received reports of another massive earthquake in the north. In the south, the rain had been falling non-stop for a month. The drought in the east was severe. Was this the price of ignoring the divine mandate? At some point, disasters started engulfing the entire empire as if a god was angry. The people turned their criticism toward the emperor and the empress who had ignored the divine mandate. Rebellions broke out all over the country, and the result was nothing but tragedy. Anastasia asked, "Where is His Majesty, the emperor?" "Now," a servant replied, "during the battle with the rebels, he fell." Anastasia thought, the delusion that love can make everything better, the arrogance of believing that, since the future is not set, I could avoid tragedy, even if my breath were to stop tomorrow. The desire not to give up this love remained. I thought I could change it, but it was my illusion, pain worse than death. Is this the price of defying fate? Anastasia whispered, "That person. It is Evelyn, isn't it? She should have been the main character." Anastasia spoke, "I am sorry, it is all because of me. I should have just let things flow naturally." Evelyn replied, "And now you regret it. It's too late. Regret that comes too late is of no use." Anastasia thought, "My execution is scheduled for tomorrow. The remnants of the deposed emperor are inevitably headed for the guillotine. I can't change anything now, but I won't die by their swords to the end. This is not for my personal dignity, as the wife of the emperor, as a beloved lover, for his name, for his nobility. I don't want to tarnish it, not even by a hair's breadth. We will meet in a little while. They won't forgive me. Wilhelm, if I could go back to the beginning, I would never fall in love with you. The deep punishment for loving is enough for this life. If there is a next, I will thoroughly submit to fate." Next scene. Anastasia thought, "What was that? What is that sound? Come to think of it, sound. I am sure I drank poison and died in the underground prison, yet I can clearly feel the sounds, the pain, everything, as if I am alive. The maid spoke. I am truly sorry, by mistake. I served you the same tea that was brought out in the morning. It is all my fault, my apologies. Anastasia thought, what is this situation, this palace? It is Anastasia's bedroom, but there are no signs of the rebels' intrusion, and my body is unharmed, just like before I was imprisoned. The Duchess came in and asked, are you all right? I will wrap your hand with a bandage to stop the bleeding. Anastasia asked, why are you here? You died, I am certain. Then she thought, the Duchess was undoubtedly Anastasia's most loyal subordinate. She stayed by her side until the very end and lost her life to the rebels' blades. So why is she alive in front of my eyes? The Duchess said, are you thinking of killing me? Before that, you will need to master the inner palace duties. Anastasia asked, what do you mean by that? The Duchess replied, without me, you can't do anything, Your Majesty. Anastasia thought, although her demeanor is quite different from the Duchess I knew, the peaceful atmosphere and casual conversation, could it be? No way. Anastasia asked, what is today's date and year? The Duchess replied, it is the last day of the month of youth, in the 567th year of the imperial calendar. Anastasia thought, it is clear, I have returned to the past. The Duchess thought, how should I put it, today, the Empress is a bit strange, she apologized, which she never does, I don't know what whim this is. Anastasia thought, Goddess, is this also a punishment you are giving me? Why are you placing me in the same role? You won't even let me die, just why? No, the reason must be simple, as an extra, like an extra should. The answer will clearly be that I must submit to the flow to complete the story. The future tragedy must not be repeated. The current me is 22 years old. It has been 2 years since I married the Emperor. There is still 1 year left before the real female lead appears. The problem is, when I first possessed the book, it was 2 years before the Empress came into power, so there was plenty of time to change Anastasia's image, but now it is different. It has already been 2 years since the marriage. Considering the evil deeds the original Anastasia committed after becoming Empress, but I refuse to die helplessly again. I have to survive. After that, the maid informed her, the Duke of Verontes has requested an audience. Anastasia thought, Father. In my previous life, Father also died during a battle with the rebels, worrying about me and the imperial family. He was always such a worrisome and kind father. Next scene. The Duke stated, judging by your timid voice, it seems you know what you did wrong. Why do you keep repeating such undignified actions? This father is deeply worried, not only the maids but even the court ladies. You slap them if you don't like them. You don't take care of any imperial duties and order new dresses every day, let alone saving money. You even gamble, Anastasia thought. The original did not reveal such detailed information. Father continued, I don't fully trust you, Empress, but it is time for me to leave. You must change now, above all, your relationship with his. Anastasia thought, I am sorry, Father, I cannot get along with the Emperor. We need to maintain our distance, like in the original story, for both our sakes. I cannot leave until they announce the new prophecy. I should do my best to avoid the Emperor until then. When I see him, I want to talk to him, and when we talk, I want to be by his side. When we are together, I start dreaming of our future. It is an urge I cannot resist. I know I will fall for him all over again. I don't want a tragic ending because of my love for the Emperor. The Duchess came and said, the dressmaker you asked for 3 days ago has arrived. Shall I take you to them? Anastasia replied, I am sorry, but please tell them to leave, send them back, I don't need anything. The Duchess asked, but Your Majesty, if you don't like the new dress designer, Anastasia interrupted, instead, I would like a pen, some paper, and a bouquet of fresh flowers. I am going to send them to Lady Duffert. On the other hand, the maids were gossiping. One asked, what happened to her? Another replied, Her Majesty slapped her for serving the same tea twice in 1 day. Maid Duffert thought, I can't take this anymore. Father said working under the Empress would be a valuable experience, but I can't take another day of this. Then she said, I am done, I quit. Other maids tried to stop her, saying, Lady, we implore you to reconsider. Once you leave, there is no turning back. The Duchess came and told her, "The Empress sent the royal physician for you. It would be considered rude to turn Her Majesty down. Sit and have the physician tend to your wounds. Also, this is a handwritten note and a gift from Her Majesty." The maid thought, "This is Her Majesty's seal. Did she curse me out in her letter?" The next moment, she said, "I can't believe it. Her Majesty wrote, 'I am writing to apologize for what happened this morning. Get some rest until your cheek has healed. I hope you accept my apology.'" The maid thought, "Her apology feels genuine. This was sent by Her Majesty, the person who struck me this morning." After that, the Duchess thought, "What is Her Majesty thinking? She apologized to Lady Dufford and then called me back in again. From what I know about Her Majesty so far, she is weak-minded, incompetent, and lazy. She is also violent, lascivious, and loves to overspend. Up until now, it was me who managed the Empress's palace, and I am only here to meet her as the trusted servant of His Majesty William and the Empire. Her Majesty always gets into trouble when I am away. The Empress's palace would fall into shambles if I were to leave, yet Her Majesty has been acting strangely all day today." Anastasia spoke, "Don't be shocked, lady, I called you in because, from now on." The Duchess interrupted, "Your Majesty, is it true? Did I hear you correctly?" Anastasia now completed her sentence, "I want to take part in managing the inner palace." Then she thought, "I must have shocked her." The Duchess stated, "I hope you mean what you said. It's great that you finally want to do your job, but taking care of royal affairs is no easy matter." Then she thought, "Her Majesty knows nothing about running the palace. I'm sure she didn't mean what she said. How could she? I have never seen her work before." Anastasia thought, "She has every right to worry. Yes, this is the Duchess I know, but I can't back down now." Then she said, "I know, checking the daily schedule, balancing the treasury, managing the staff, and preparing for His Majesty's upcoming birthday ball." The Duchess thought, she was lying around doing nothing all day. Then she said, "You know more than I thought you would." Anastasia thought, "It's what I did every day in my previous life, so it feels strange sitting around doing nothing." Anastasia continued, "I know how hard you've worked on my behalf. I will cut to the chase. I want you to trust me. Just this once, if the preparations for His Majesty's birthday ball don't meet your standards, I'll start learning everything from scratch." The Duchess asked, "Your Majesty, could this be a dream?" "No, this couldn't be real." Anastasia thought, "Is this something to be so shocked about? But I don't have time to change gradually." In the original story, Anastasia took the Duchess's efforts for granted, and she was a terror to the staff up until this morning. It will be difficult to ask her to forget what happened just this morning. Just like in my previous life, I want the lady by my side." The Duchess then asked, "Why did you send a letter of apology and flowers to Lady Dufford?" Anastasia thought, "I slapped her, of course. I have to apologize, but as Anastasia, I need to come up with some sort of excuse." Then she replied, "I wanted to change. I want to become a different person. I had a moment when I met Father today, and I realized that as the Empress, I don't want to let myself down anymore. Am I too late?" The Duchess replied, "Of course not, Your Majesty. I am your lady-in-waiting and a loyal servant of the palace. I had no expectations of Her Majesty. So I never thought of giving her an opportunity to make things right. Shall we give it a go? Her Majesty was chosen by our goddess." Later that night, the maids whispered, "Have you heard? You'll never believe what Her Majesty did today. She apologized to Lady Dufford and expressed her intent to manage the inner palace." After that, Colton said, "Your Majesty, the thing is, I have something to tell you regarding Her Majesty." The Emperor stated, "If it's about the Empress, I don't want to hear it. Not a single thing." Colton thought, "I should have braced myself before bringing it up, but I still can't get used to his ravishing beauty." Then he continued, "I think you should listen. It's actually great news." The Emperor asked, "Did she murder someone?" Colton replied, "That would not be as shocking. Her Majesty apologized to the staff." The Emperor asked, "She did what?" Colton replied, "After slapping Lady Dufford, she sent flowers and apologized. Then she sent back a famous fashion designer." The Emperor said, "I don't understand. Did she finally lose her mind?" Colton replied, "That may be a possibility. What will you do about it?" The Emperor told him, "What could I do? Don't take it seriously, it may be one of her mood swings. There's nothing we can do about it. Keep an eye out, and don't bring up the Empress unless she has actually murdered somebody. She gives me a headache. The next day, Anastasia thought, today is the memorial for my father-in-law. Then she asked, why is it so quiet? The Duchess replied, the nobles have already arrived at the high church. Anastasia thought, in the original story, Anastasia insisted on looking as beautiful as possible during the father-in-law's memorial, and that is why it took so long. Then she remembered this morning. Anastasia thought, did the original Anastasia even know that today was a memorial, not a festival? However, the staff did nothing wrong. They likely did as they were told. Then she told them, I need to change. Bring me a simple black dress and some pearl earrings. I want to take everything else off. That is why we were late. After that, Anastasia thought, is that the Emperor's carriage? Now, it is William, the Emperor. Then both of them looked at each other. Anastasia thought, no, I have to go. Sometime later, in the church, the nobles whispered, is that really Her Majesty? She showed up in a white dress and jewelry last year. Did she actually feel embarrassed? No, she doesn't give a damn about what others think. Anastasia thought, there is no sign of respect for me, only curiosity and ridicule, but that is the least of my worries. Then the Emperor came. Anastasia thought, you are alive. So I am really back in the past, where you are alive and well. It's only hitting me now. I'm glad I chose a hat with a veil. He would have seen my face if I hadn't. I must get my act together. We are not in love with each other anymore. After that, the Emperor asked, when our eyes met earlier, why did you turn away? Tell me, why did you do that? Anastasia thought, his gaze is as cold as ice. My heart hurts, but I have to focus. It's for my survival. And his, she replied, it was not my intention. I apologize if it came off as rude. The Emperor thought, she's really not herself today. Then he said, you dressed properly, or speaking in a polite fashion, and even showing benevolence to your staff. It seems you have become a different person, dear wife. Anastasia thought, how did he figure that out? I can't get caught right now. Then she commented, it's about time I came to my senses. The Emperor asked, they say people change when they are on the cusp of death. Are you well? Anastasia replied, yes. I mean no, unfortunately, I am not sick at all. Then she thought, I want to avoid his gaze and not give him the wrong answer. The Emperor told her, I know you don't like me very much. Anastasia replied, I'm not going to answer that. I'm sure the feeling is mutual. I no longer want my father to suffer because of me. I know my behavior has been out of line. The Emperor said, let's see how long this lasts. Anastasia thought, are we like this because I came back to the past? I should keep my distance, like right now. The memorial service is over. I should head back to the inner palace as soon as possible. Everyone is going to find my current behavior suspicious. The Emperor told her, wait. Anastasia thought, what does he want from me? Then he asked, shall we ride back to the palace together? I mean, would you like to ride in the same carriage? Anastasia replied, I know what you mean, but why? The Emperor emphasized, I want to know why you decided to change. I thought we could discuss it on our way back. Anastasia replied, no, thank you. The thing is, I have something to discuss with Lady Rochester on the way back. I will be taking my leave now. The Emperor thought, changed, my ass. I merely wanted to check if what Colton said was true, but our conversation today was very off. I can't let this pass. Next scene. The Duchess told her, I wonder what you wanted to discuss in the carriage. I had no idea you wanted to run the inner palace right now. We will start with the basics. Please take your time. I will give you 3 days, Your Majesty. Then she thought, it's simple but probably difficult for a beginner, but if she's really changed, I'm sure she can manage. Anastasia replied, there is no need. I think I can get it done in a day. The next morning, the Duchess thought, it's 7 o'clock a.m. Her Majesty is usually asleep at this hour. Today, we'll find out whether she was bluffing or not. The maids told her, we have great news. Her Majesty just got out of bed. The Duchess replied, really, she usually sleeps in. After that, Anastasia stated, I'm glad you're here. I wanted to give you this. I hope I did a good job. Please look it over and let me know if something is lacking. The Duchess thought, This is quite a detailed list. I thought she would take at least 3 days to get it done. It's perfect. There's nothing to correct. It's as if she's been managing the inner palace for a long time. Was she always this clever? Did I have a prejudice against Her Majesty and underestimate her abilities? Then she said, "Forgive me, Your Majesty. I didn't believe you were up to the task." Anastasia replied, "There's no need to apologize. Instead, a compliment would do." After that, the maids were chatting. Her Majesty has been studying for the past 2 years. Even the Duchess was impressed. Colton asked, "Is that so?" The maids replied, "You've been coming here quite often." Colton said, "The atmosphere in the inner palace has changed recently. What is Her Majesty up to now?" One maid told him, "Don't be shocked. Her Majesty has done nothing unusual. She's in her office, managing the inner palace. She took over half the work from the Duchess. She's stopped hosting tea parties, shopping for new frocks, and going out for walks. Some say she might be terminally ill. You know, people decide to change when they're on the verge of death." Colton thought, "So Her Majesty is ill." On the other hand, Anastasia thought, "I've done this before, but I don't remember the details. I've been in a trance to get everything done as soon as possible." But changing Anastasia's image is still a work in progress. Am I coming across as someone completely different? I have no choice. The female lead will make her debut at the upcoming debutante ball. It's less than a year away. If I wish to survive after I step down from the throne, I must do everything in my power to change Anastasia's reputation, both inside and outside of the palace. Next scene. The Emperor told Colton, "I've been thinking about the Empress. I don't understand what's gotten into her. She's been acting suspicious lately." Colton told him, "Her Majesty has been spending most of her time in her office. Her staff has been working harder than usual, and she hasn't been spending lavishly like before. Isn't that great for the Empire?" The Emperor replied, "No, it's the opposite. Don't you find it strange? A person doesn't change overnight," Colton said. "So you believe there's an ulterior motive? I wonder why. Her Majesty isn't the type to care about what others think." The Emperor stated, "For the Empress, there's only one thing she's lacking right now, her privy purse." The next day, Anastasia said, "Your cup is empty. Allow me to fill it up for you." The Duke replied, "That won't be necessary, Your Majesty." Anastasia responded, "It's fine. I used to pour you tea often, remember?" Then she thought, "Oh no, that happened in my previous life. That was a close call. I was so happy to see Father." Anastasia continued, "I have always been waiting for a chance to pour you tea." The Duke said, "It is very fragrant," and then thought, "I can't believe my daughter has changed so drastically. Her speech and attitude are so regal. They don't compare to how she was before." He added, "I've heard of your good deeds. You have been doing well. So, how are things with His Majesty? Do you still not find His Majesty attractive?" Anastasia replied, "It's not that." Then she thought, "The problem is that I am head over heels in love with him, but instead, I need to give him up for the female protagonist of the story." The Duke continued, "Well, there is still time. You both are young. After all, come to think of it, Your Majesty, aren't you short of funds? I told you last month that I would no longer be supporting you. We just wanted you to get a better sense of managing your money." Anastasia thought, "I see, the original Anastasia may have been the Empress, but to live such a lavish life, she probably needed more than her allocated allowance. She must have asked her family for financial assistance." After some time, Anastasia thought, "Wait a minute, does this mean I have nothing left in my privy purse?" The Duchess replied, "That is right." Anastasia thought, "This should have been the first thing I checked. I can't believe I came into this world after the original Anastasia spent all her money. It's not a big problem now, but what will happen when I'm kicked out a year later? I know the Duke would take Anastasia back in, since she is his only daughter, but this will deter my grand plan." After some time, Lucent came and said, "Greetings to the moon of the Empire." Anastasia thought, "Lady Lucent." The author used a single sentence to describe her, but I found out that she was the only person with enough station to calm Anastasia down during her fits of anger. Lucent said, "Everyone was shocked when they heard the news. Of course, not all rumors are positive." Anastasia asked, "What rumors?" Lucent replied, "Some say this is a ruse to get more money for your privy purse, while others say you are terminally ill. I don't know why people are acting so weird. Anastasia commented, none of it is true, but I can see why people think that way. However, I am going to change my ways. Lucent asked, does this mean you won't be hosting your famous parties anymore? Anastasia thought, parties, that's it, that's exactly what I need. Then she said, don't worry, I will be holding a tea party very soon. The Duchess thought, Her Majesty knows she has nothing left in her privy purse, what is she plotting now? The Duchess asked, are you serious about hosting a tea party, Your Majesty? As you saw earlier, you don't have much spending money left, if you're thinking of asking His Grace for money. Anastasia replied, I am not, I won't be asking Father for help. The Duchess asked, then how will you fund the party? Anastasia told her, don't worry, it will be the perfect opportunity to make money, not spend it. On the other hand, Colton said, His Majesty, the Empress will be hosting a tea party in a few days. The Emperor replied, I was right, it took her less than 2 weeks to go back to her old ways, but her privy purse must be empty, how will she host a party? Colton replied, they say she didn't purchase anything new, so she must intend to keep it modest. I managed to get a hold of the list of ladies she invited. The Emperor asked, what is this? You could be an empress too. This is ridiculous, even for her, what is she trying to do? Colton replied, I'm not sure, but this is the invitation she sent to my mother. The Emperor said, I know the Marquis is doing just fine, how could she send this sort of invitation to a married lady? Then he thought, ever since our marriage 2 years ago, Anastasia's behavior has been unpredictable, I'm sure she's acting on a whim again. Why is she behaving so strangely? It is very different from the days when she was throwing tantrums every day. Back then, she was easy to figure out, I could tell she had no ulterior motives. But now the Duke has been on the move, and the Empress has made a complete turnaround. I don't know what to make of it right now. I've been racking my brain, but I know she would never give up her position as Empress. However, when I saw her at the High Church the other day, I didn't know what to make of her, I don't get her at all. Then he said, continue to keep an eye on them, both the inner palace and the dukedom, and report back to me about the party. Colton replied, I'm afraid I can't do that. The Emperor asked, what did you say? Colton replied, only those who received an invitation can attend the tea party. The Emperor told him, your mother received an invitation, get the information we need from her. Colton replied, understood, I will ask her how the party went. Then he thought, I can't ask my elderly mother for help, what will she think of me? The next day, Anastasia thought, come to think of it, the Emperor probably knows I have no spending money left, he's a clever man, he may assume that I'm scheming to get more money out of him. But there's nothing I can do about it, I need to focus on today's tea party. The 10 participants were ladies who had close ties with Anastasia. She made sure the venue was beautiful, lavish, and elegant. Fortunately, she had enough decorations on hand for the party, so she didn't need to spend any money. There was a stockpile of decorations. Just how many parties did she host in the past 2 years? The maids told her, we're finished, would you like to take a look? Anastasia thought, you look absolutely smashing. Then she replied, I won't lose face looking like this. Thank you all for the hard work. The maids whispered, did she just compliment us? Her Majesty has really changed. At the tea party, all the guests were praising her. Then someone asked, some people are betting whether this is all an act or not, Your Majesty. Anastasia replied, I gathered you all today to show you how serious I am. I went through my closet and realized I have too many frocks and accessories for one person, so I thought I should dispose of some of them. You all were exclusively invited to today's party for a very special reason. Today at my tea party, I will be auctioning some of my most prized possessions. The Marchioness thought, so you could be an empress too. Then she spoke, we were shocked when we read the invitation. We struggled to figure out your message. So this is what you meant, Your Majesty. Anastasia told her, yes, I wrote that statement, not because I was planning on stepping down, but because I wanted to give you all a chance to purchase a few of my prized possessions. I want you to shine brightly, just like yours truly. Are you ready? Anastasia thought, the Empress is the most noble woman in the empire. For generations, the Empress has been a trendsetter, a pioneer of sorts. Even if she lacked beauty, the moment she chose an item, the ladies of high society rushed to follow suit. Anastasia may have been a tyrant and a party animal, but even so, the ladies must have acknowledged her sense of style. Some tried to copy her from head to toe, but there were many prohibitions that prevented designers from creating exact replicas of her frocks. If they participated in this auction, they would get their hands on one-of-a-kind fashion items chosen by the empress herself. After the auction, the duchess told her, 3,000,000 rosen, to be exact. I am astonished by the thought of hosting an auction. You never cease to amaze me. Anastasia replied, I was able to fill up my privy purse. The duchess asked, are you going to host another auction? Anastasia replied, yes, but not for a while. We should bide our time while we prepare for the next one. We need time for the news to spread. These 10 ladies will now show up in high society wearing the frocks and jewelry they won, capturing the attention of everyone at the gatherings. That way, people will wait in anticipation for my next auction. We should lay low until then. She continued, and there's somewhere I would like to visit. Could you take a look at this paper? I want to visit these places. I would need at least a day per location. The duchess replied, this is. Are you really planning on going there? Anastasia continued, I don't want too many guards. The duchess told her, that is not possible. You may fall into danger. Anastasia asked, who in this empire would dare cause me harm? The duchess said, if you insist, I will look into it. Next scene. Anastasia thought, we're not too late. I have a feeling things will go as planned. Next scene. Asental asks, what is the meaning of this? The person replies, you have been falling behind on your payments. Asental tells him, but we have been paying back the interest as scheduled. The person speaks, you owe me 10 gold pieces. There is no way you could pay me back. Asental asks, 10 gold pieces, but I borrowed 50 silver pieces from you. How could you ask me to pay 20 gold? The person replies, stop talking and get out of my way. This house now belongs to me, and even this house wouldn't cover the interest. To pay your debt in full, I may need to take the children. Asental says, you can't take the kids. Then she thinks, that is strange. According to the daily horoscope Thomas told me, I am supposed to meet someone special today, so how could this happen? If he takes the kids, the boys will be sold off as slaves, and the girls sent to brothels. I did everything I could to protect these kids. I can't send them away. The person tells her, I want those 3 over there. Asental replies, I won't let you take the kids, take me instead. Suddenly, the person shouts, you little. In the next moment, Anastasia appears and says, that is enough. Take him to the local court for trial. The person asks, how dare you? Who the hell are you? Who is that woman? Anastasia replies, you will know very soon. After that, Asental says, my lady, I did not catch your name. The knight shouts, this is the venerable moon of our empire, now bow down to her majesty. Anastasia thinks, I did not mean for her to find out this way, then asks, are you all right? Miss Asental. Asental thinks, how does she know my name? Anastasia continues, I am glad I made it in time. Fortunately, the kids look fine. Asental replies, yes, your majesty, thank you for coming to save us. Anastasia thinks, this is worse than I expected. That person was probably a loan shark. The original story stated that most commoners are illiterate, so they were easily fooled into signing contracts that put them at a disadvantage. Asental is a clever woman. I know I can get straight to the point. Then she says, I won't beat around the bush. I would like to be your benefactor. I would like to help the children you are looking after. According to my staff, you have been taking care of children who were orphaned and had nowhere else to go. She thinks, surprisingly, this empire has no public orphanages. Orphans are either taken in by the high church to become laborers, or left to fend for themselves on the streets. In my previous life, I asked my brother to set up a protection program, and we were able to reduce the number of children living on the back streets. I was able to rescue children from danger. I want to survive, but I also want to provide a safe environment for the children of the empire. Then she says, I admire your determination to look after the children, even though you are struggling financially. Asental replies, I don't know what to say, but yes, we have been struggling. I had no money to buy wheat. Anastasia says, most people would have given up on the children. Asental continues, even still, they are my children. What parent gives up on their children? Anastasia says, I will send someone to periodically check up on you and the children. You won't have to worry about money anymore, if you don't mind. I would like to spend some time with the kids. She thinks, even if we don't have orphanages right now, there will always be kind-hearted adults who are willing to look after orphaned children. I would like to help them out while I can. After some time, Anastasia thought, they sleep like angels. They were so energetic earlier. They are so happy and beautiful. A sentinel came and asked, would you like to get some rest while I prepare dinner, Your Majesty? It is not much, but we have a beautiful flower garden in the back. After that, Anastasia thought, wow, I did not think the flowers and grass would be so fragrant here. It is soothing, both physically and mentally. It has been less than a month since I came back into Anastasia's body, but there was never a moment when I was not busy. I know that I could ask the Emperor instead of coming here myself. I know he and the staff have taken care of things, but it is different this time around. Back then, I was ever so hopeful and would have done anything in my power to stay by his side. It could never be that way again. I vowed to let the story go as planned. That means I will be stepping down in a year. I can't make a proposal to the Emperor without garnering suspicion, unless I manage to convince others that I am no longer the villain. One wrong step, and I won't be able to make things right. They would not know what to do with the policies I suggested once I am gone. Why would Evelyn and her followers keep a policy that was proposed by a tyrant empress? I have no plans after I leave the throne. Should I set up an orphanage myself? Before I came into the novel, I was a teacher because I loved kids. Setting up a school would be nice too. Come to think of it, there are many things I could do after I leave the palace. I will survive, and so will the Emperor in this world. The season for roses has already passed. Aren't you lonely, you late bloomer? They are but distant memories now. In my previous life, I said if we ever have a daughter, I want to name her Rose. So if we have a boy, let's name him Heath. Doesn't that sound romantic? The Emperor replied, let's do that. How could I ever say no to you? She thought, I remember now, red roses have a meaning. That was, I love you. Yes, I am still in love with the Emperor. The word, love, is an understatement for the emotions I have for him. I miss Emperor William so much. Oh no, that was so sudden. The next moment, the Emperor came and asked, why are you crying, and why are you in the middle of nowhere? With nary a night in sight, you can be so strange sometimes. Anastasia thought, what is the Emperor doing here? The Emperor asked, are you going to answer me? Anastasia replied, I pricked my finger on the thorns of this rose bush. Don't mind me, Your Majesty. What brings you here? The Emperor asked, how could I not, when you seem to be in so much pain? Anastasia replied, it is really nothing. The Emperor spoke, so you are saying you cried over nothing? Anastasia thought, am I dreaming? It feels as if we are back to being young lovers again. The Emperor asked, have you calmed down? I guess you can answer me now. Why did you come here? Anastasia replied, there was someone I needed to help. I heard of a lady who was taking care of abandoned children, and I wanted to see if I could help them out. I wanted to see their work with my own eyes. I thought sending a messenger would not be enough to show my appreciation. The Emperor told her, you are more sensitive than I thought. Then he thought, whenever the Empress does something like this, she feels like a different person. Anastasia asked, so what brought you here? She thought, I don't need to report to His Majesty for him to figure out where I am going. I knew the Central Palace would check up on my whereabouts. Surely the Emperor can't be here because of me. The Emperor replied, inspection, this may be a rural village, but it is still a part of the Empire. What a coincidence, finding you here. Anastasia asked, did you bring Lord Nervius with you? The Emperor replied, Colton stayed behind, as I wished to move in secret. Anastasia was shocked and told him, that is dangerous. The Emperor spoke, you seem worried about me. Anastasia replied, think what you want. The Emperor continued, you should offer me a ride in your carriage if you are that worried. Surely you don't want me to head back by horse again. Anastasia replied, of course not, Your Majesty. The Emperor remembered, she did not touch the money she accumulated through the auction, and I have no idea what is running through that head of hers. Colton had told him, Her Majesty has every right to leave the palace. However, would you like me to track her whereabouts? The emperor stated, I will go myself. Then he thought, if it is not political ambition, the empress may be having an affair. Her recent actions would make sense if she was seeing another man. She would want to look her best in front of her new lover. I know there is no need for me to go, but I want to, and I don't know why. I guess she gets on my nerves. That must be it. I have been having trouble focusing because of that woman. That is why I am going. Why would she come to such a rural village? She did not come to meet a lover or my political adversary, but a middle-aged woman. I have never seen her like this before. I thought she got on my nerves, but when I saw what she was doing, my heart skipped a beat. Why am I feeling this way? Anastasia asked. Would you like a quick meal before we head back? Miss Assental offered to make dinner. The emperor replied, let's do that, then thought, it will be the perfect opportunity to find out what she is scheming. In the next scene, the children are all over him. Anastasia is taking care of another child. The emperor thought, for the life of me, I can't believe she is acting this way. After that, a little child asked, you have to come back, promise. Anastasia replied, I won't be able to come often, but I will try. Thomas asked, excuse me, Your Majesty, are you and Her Majesty a couple? The emperor replied, you could say that. Thomas told him, then you can come back with her next time. In the carriage, Anastasia asked, it looked like Thomas was telling you something. What did he say? The emperor replied, he did not say much, then thought you could hardly call us a couple. The people of the empire see us as a couple, but we have never really been together. Anastasia thought, he must not like me very much. No, it is a good thing. There is no use in getting intimate with each other. The emperor asked, are these the men you brought with you? Anastasia replied, was it too many? I can reduce the number next time. The emperor continued, no, that's not it. This is less than a fourth of the number of staff you used to take when you went out. Anastasia thought, is he pointing out that I didn't bring enough knights? She replied, you saw for yourself, bringing too many men would have scared off the villagers. The emperor asked, I don't get it. Why are you suddenly acting this way? You were not like this before. Anastasia replied, I believe I told you this before. I felt the need to change and have been doing my part. The emperor said, your change has been rather drastic. Are you hiding something from me? Anastasia replied, of course not, then thought, he is too clever for his own good. She said, but I could say the same about you. Go ask anyone out there, and they'll say they prefer the new me. You're the only one asking why I have changed. The emperor stated, you never liked children. You said you hated hearing them cry and did your best to stay away from children, even those from noble families, but look at you now. I saw you play with orphaned children with a huge smile on your face. One can change one's attitude, but not their preferences, so, of course, I'm going to wonder. Anastasia asked, it seems you've been keeping an eye on me. The emperor replied, what do you mean I kept an eye on you? I was just checking up on the royal palace. Anastasia said, I hope there will be a day when you recognize my true intentions. I have no intention of causing harm to the empire, nor do I have any ulterior motives. I know I can't force you to believe me, but I would appreciate it if you took a step back and watched me from afar. The emperor replied, understood. Then thought, the truth is, I'm curious about something else entirely. Why was she crying so helplessly earlier? I can't get it out of my head. The next day, in the garden of the inner palace, Lucent said, Your Majesty, I heard you were in the same carriage as His Majesty. They say that you're volunteering at a rural village together. Is that true? Anastasia replied, I guess so, then thought, I don't think she will believe me when I tell her that it's all a misunderstanding. She then said, You're wearing the necklace you won at the auction. Lucent replied, I love it. I didn't know you held the auction to fill your privy purse. I'm glad I could be of help. Anastasia asked, In that case, how would you like to become my lady-in-waiting? Lucent asked, What, your lady-in-waiting? Anastasia explained, Yes. You are someone I can trust. We used to spend all our time together, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to see each other more often. She thought, in my previous life, Lucent left after my marriage to the emperor, but I know she is currently single. Is it okay for the life of a mere extra to change like this? But this may be a good opportunity for me. I would feel safe with a friend like her by my side. Then she said, "Of course, you don't have to answer right away, it was just a thought, you don't have to feel burdened by it." Lucent replied, "Your proposal was so sudden, I didn't know how to react. Anyway, His Majesty's birthday banquet is right around the corner. Everyone's excited to see what kind of party you have planned this time. Have you prepared a present for His Majesty?" Anastasia replied, "No, I'm not going to get His Majesty anything this year." Anastasia continued, "I'm going to be just like me. I have never given him a present before," Lucent said. "But you've changed so much recently, so I thought there was a difference between the two of you." Anastasia told her, "Not at all. Instead, I would rather make sure the party is absolutely perfect." Next scene. On the day of the Emperor's birthday, the maid said, "Your Majesty, you must outshine everyone at the party today. You are the Empress. You have to show the world how beautiful you are." The Duchess thought, who would have imagined this would happen just a month ago? In the past, Her Majesty was extremely picky about her fashion and would throw a fit if something didn't please her. But now the maids are rushing to her side, trying to make her as beautiful as possible. Anastasia said, "Shall we head over to the venue?" The Duchess asked, "Are you not going to visit the Central Palace?" Anastasia replied, "Why would I go there? Did I do that last year? There is no reason to do it this year. Let's get going." The Duchess thought, Her Majesty has changed for the better in so many aspects, but her attitude towards His Majesty remains unchanged. After that, Anastasia arrived and thought, why are they suddenly so quiet? This silence is not out of respect, they're too busy talking about the new me. She said, "These people are the 10 ladies I invited to my very first auction." Then she added, "I see that you are wearing the items you won at the auction tonight." One of the noble ladies replied, "No matter where I go, all the ladies ask me where I got my jewelry. When I tell them, they hope they will be invited next time." Anastasia thought, the auction must maintain its exclusivity, but at this rate, the invitations themselves may be sold at a higher price. The noble ladies were whispering, "Her Majesty is having a civil conversation with the noble ladies. The rumors must be true. She has become a completely new version of herself. She may be the reincarnation of our goddess Rosania." Anastasia thought, if I keep this up, I will be able to avoid death by guillotine. I just came to show the world that I have changed. Now I have to get back to work. Someone told her, "Your Majesty, His Majesty is heading this way." Anastasia thought, he has no reason to come see me. Then she said, "Greetings to the son of the Empire. Happy birthday, Your Majesty." The Emperor replied, "Thank you, dear wife, better late than never, I suppose." Anastasia thought, he is too clever for his own good. Then she replied, "I hope you enjoy your birthday banquet. May the blessing of our goddess Rosania be with you." The Emperor stated, "Wait, surely that can't be all. Did you prepare a birthday present for me?" Anastasia thought, "Say what?" The Emperor told her, "Never mind. I don't know why I said that. Forget what you heard, you can go and get some rest." Anastasia replied, "Well then, I will be taking my leave now." After some time, Colton asked, "Why aren't you at your own birthday party?" The Emperor replied, "You know I'm not one to party, don't worry, I managed to talk to most of the guests." Colton asked, "Wait a minute, is that why you've been going out so often recently, because of Her Majesty?" The Emperor replied, "Not exactly." Colton asked, "Are you really sure about that?" The Emperor said, "Fine, I admit it. What do you think? Do you really believe the Empress has become a new person?" Colton replied, "That is the only conclusion I could come up with." The Emperor told him, "Her attitude towards me hasn't changed, and she's going out of her way to avoid me. Our eyes met several times during the party, but she never approached me, and she left without giving me a birthday present." Colton said, "I didn't think you cared about things like that. I thought you were fine keeping your distance from Her Majesty." The Emperor stated, "Enough. Let's change the subject and get out of my office." On the other hand, the maids asked, "Why are you back so early? We worked extra hard to make you look beautiful today. I hear you didn't even dance with His Majesty." Anastasia replied, "What were you expecting?" The maid asked, "I'm sure His Majesty would have loved to dance with you. Don't you find him attractive?" Anastasia thought, "Of course, I do." However, Anastasia and the Emperor were on the verge of separation before I woke up inside her body, so I don't need to treat him more kindly. surely, he's not upset about that. He's the Emperor of Rosenberg. He has everything, what more could he want? Besides, when the real heroine steps in, I won't need to worry about such matters. A few days later, Colton asked, "Did you hear the news? Her Majesty's second auction ended in success." She used a very clever tactic. Her Majesty restricted the participants to 30 and put the invitations up for sale. Guess how much each invitation cost? The Emperor replied, 1,000 Rosen. Colton replied, no, 10 times that amount. The Emperor said, the auction itself must have been expensive, so they paid 10,000 Rosen just to attend. That explains the long line I saw in front of the inner palace. She was selling her own belongings, meaning there were no fees to pay. How clever. The Empress seems to be a shrewd businesswoman. Colton said, I wonder what Her Majesty plans to do with all that money. I think she's started going back to her old ways. She may call a new designer to put in an order for expensive frocks. The Emperor stated, shall we make a bet? You win if the Empress ends up purchasing the new frocks, and I win if she uses the money for something else. In the next scene, Anastasia said, so you're wondering what I'm going to do with the money I raised through the auction. Well, I can tell you here and now that I know exactly where I'm going to spend it. Anastasia continued, I plan on saving the profits from the auction for my future charity. Lucent replied, you are going to set up a charity in the future. That is amazing. I would like to help. Then she asked, is there a problem? The coachman replied, the roads are muddy because of the rain yesterday, and our wheels got stuck. It will take some time to get them out. After that, Lucent told her, let's enjoy all the desserts in this village. The roads are very picturesque here, and I can't wait to try the desserts. They waited until the carriage was freed and took another route. Afterward, Lucent asked, you've been holed up in the palace the past few years, don't you get tired of it sometimes? Anastasia replied, I do. Then thought, I'll be leaving when the real heroine comes into the picture. She then asked, have you thought about my proposal, you know, about being my lady-in-waiting? Lucent replied, the thing is, my apologies, I don't think that will be possible. Anastasia thought, she didn't look very happy when I first brought it up, I wonder why. She then asked, are you thinking of getting married? Lucent replied, I'm not very popular with gentlemen, you know, with my background. I'm sure most people know that the Marchioness is not my real father. Legally, I'm his daughter, but no one wants to marry a lady born between a noble and a maid. Some men have approached me because of my family background, but I can tell right away that they have ulterior motives. Anastasia said, I'm sorry for bringing it up, then thought, why didn't I know about this? I had no idea, even in my past life, but then, who would gossip with the Empress about things like this? Lucent had been friends with the original Anastasia since they were children, so Anastasia thought, I'm sure she'll stay by my side no matter what. After some time, a child bumped into her. Anastasia thought, those wounds. They are signs of abuse. Suddenly, the child pleaded, please help me. He will kill me if he catches me. Anastasia told her, don't worry, get behind me. One of the men approached and asked, who is the wench, lady? Why don't you hand over the kid and go on your way? Anastasia asked, what are you going to do to the child? The man replied, that's none of your business. Hand the child over, or else. Do you wish to join her? At that moment, a knight stepped forward and said, he dared to call you a wench, your majesty, what would you have us do? Another man asked, did you just say Her Majesty? I'm innocent. She tried to run away through a hole in the fence, after all I did for the twat. Anastasia asked, so were you planning on taking her back and killing her, or were you going to auction her off in the black market? She thought, human trafficking. The past 3 emperors, including William, struggled with this issue. Then she said, tell me when and where the illegal auction will take place. She thought, this may be an opportunity to get rid of human trafficking once and for all. The person replied, it takes place tonight at 7 p.m., at the cellar of a pub on 21st Rothero Street. Anastasia stated, take him to a secluded forest and continue to interrogate him. She thought, if what he said is true, we don't have much time left. The girl thought, the knights referred to her as Her Majesty, so the Empress saved me. The Empress told her, don't worry, they won't be coming after you anymore. The girl replied, "Thank you, and greetings to the venerable moon of the empire." Anastasia said, "You can get up, child. You look like you are hungry. You may need to be treated. My physicians happen to be around. I will have them take a look at you." Lucent asked, "Can't we inform the palace and leave?" Anastasia thought, "The auction will take place tonight." She sent a homing pigeon to the royal palace, then said, "Martin, go to the auction and buy everyone you see. Money is not an issue. Try to save as many as possible." She thought, "I filled up the privy purse for occasions such as these." After that, the girl said, "Thank you for treating my wounds, Your Majesty." Anastasia replied, "You're welcome. Come to think of it, I don't even know your name. What do you go by?" The girl thought, "I don't remember anything from my past. I have no memory of who I was before I was sold off as a slave." Anastasia stated, "So you don't know where you come from. You probably don't have a place to stay. Would you like to work as a maid in the palace? It comes with room and board, and wages, so it may be the perfect place for you to stay until your memories return." The girl asked, "How could I ever repay your kindness?" Anastasia replied, "If we get rid of the slave drivers, it would be more than enough, so we should think of a name for you, like Selene, the goddess worshipped by our neighboring country. You also have beautiful raven hair, so why don't we name you Selene?" Selene replied, "That is such a pretty name." The coachman told them, "We've arrived at the Marquis residence." Anastasia told them, "Why don't we go meet the Marquis? You can wait in the carriage for us, Selene." After some time, the Marquis said, "I will have the staff prepare refreshments." Anastasia thought, "Now is not the time to have tea, but I should try to pacify him before bringing up the topic." Lucent said, "The tea is sweet." The Marquis told them, "We put in plenty of sugar from our sugar plantation. The sugar from this area is high quality and very expensive." Anastasia said, "I'm sure it is not easy to run a plantation and produce sugar." She thought, with a sugar plantation, "The land is vast here, but the population is small. Where did he get the labor? No way." She noticed the soldiers guarding the door were not royal knights. She thought, was the Viscount involved? The Marquis asked, "Why are you looking around, Your Majesty? There is no need. You will see our knights will make sure you are well taken care of." Meanwhile, Selene thought, Her Majesty is running late. Back in the Marquis house, Anastasia thought, "It can't be. Are we surrounded?" Anastasia thought, "Come to think of it, Santruf was known for its slave trade before slavery was banned in the Indian Fire. It is close to the sea, making it easy to bring in slaves from other countries. Of course, I know I should not jump to conclusions, but what if the Viscount is working with the slave drivers? I should maintain my cool." Anastasia spoke, "I have never been to a sugar beet farm. Having lived my life in the capital, I would like to take a tour of your plantation." Marcus replied, "It is no place for the moon of the empire." Anastasia thought, "He should be more than willing to show me around to get in my good graces, but he is doing everything he can to prevent me from visiting his plantation." Lucent whispered, "Your Majesty, what if the Viscount is working with the human traffickers?" Anastasia thought, "Of course he is, but why would she say it out so loudly? I'm sure he heard everything." Anastasia stated, "Thank you for the tea, but it is time for us to head back to the capital." Marcus replied, "Don't tell me you are already leaving. I thought you had something to tell me." Anastasia explained, "No, I merely came back to take a quick break. Thank you for the hospitality." Marcus said, "You wish to leave so urgently?" Lucent shouted, "How dare you act with such insolence?" Marcus stated, "Our plantation is much bigger than you think. In fact, it is so big, I could bury a few bodies, and they would never be found. You may all enter." Grabbed the Empress. The next moment, Marcus thought, "What is going on?" At my signal, the knights were supposed to rush into the room and take the Empress and the royal knights hostage. What is happening? And why is the Empress so unfazed? Does she have something up her sleeve? Anastasia told him, "Why don't you see for yourself? I will make sure they treat you with care." After that, Marcus asked, "How did you manage to gather so many soldiers on such short notice?" One of the royal knights told him, "We are royal knights for a reason. You may be a skilled swordsman, but I'm sure my men outnumber you." Anastasia thought, before visiting the Viscount, and spoke, "If I don't come out of the estate after it becomes dark, I will let the knights know in advance. but remind them to send a homing pigeon to the palace requesting backup. When it became dark, Celine said, "Her Majesty asked us to send a homing pigeon requesting backup." She may have said it lightly, but I trust her with all my heart. Back in the present time, the maids spoke, "So that is why our reinforcements arrived so quickly. That was amazing, Your Majesty." Anastasia replied, "We are lucky His Majesty sent the royal knights right away. We were able to get a confession from the Viscount and successfully raid the slave auction. That was a close call." The maids spoke, however, "If Lady Lucent had kept her mouth shut, none of this would have happened. Is she really that clueless?" Anastasia stated, "Lucent did not do it on purpose. That was enough excitement for tonight. Let us return to the palace." That night, the Viscount and his cronies were arrested and sent to the capital. They had close ties with various slave drivers, and the palace was able to compile a list of human traffickers. Anastasia thought, "I wonder what the emperor is up to right now. I hope he is not worried about me. It would be better if he didn't." He wasn't worried, was he? The Duchess asked, "Why don't you go visit His Majesty at the Central Palace?" Anastasia replied, "Don't you think it is a bit too late?" The Duchess told her, "It would go against protocol if you didn't. As a matter of fact, His Majesty was very worried about you." Anastasia thought, "He was? No, I should not get my hopes up. What I did was for the sake of the empire. I should not expect him to praise me for my deeds, but even still, I hope he is happy that I found a solution to a difficult matter. I hope it puts a smile on his face." Like this video. Hit the like button and subscribe for more videos.